Hi, everybody. This is Alan Fine, and I'm here today with Michael Marshall, who is the Chief Commercial Officer for Minor Hotels. Minor Hotels are a number of wonderful brands, which he will tell us about. And what's interesting about this meeting is I met Michael last year at a fancy hotel in Manhattan where it was so fancy we weren't allowed to make a video. So the irony there is all we got was audio, and we were together. And now we're apart, and we're getting audio and video. Go figure. Anyway, we're going to talk about Minor Hotels, and this is Insider Travel Report. Michael, good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thanks very much for setting up this virtual meeting.
Well, so how are you and where are you?
So I'm very well, thanks. I'm pleased to say. And I'm in Bangkok, actually in my home office, right in the center of Bangkok. So we're all still working.
And we should say that is where Minor Hotels is located. The home
yes, office. That's we have our head office in Bangkok. So actually, I'm pleased to say we're starting slowly to go back to the office. So things are, the lockdown is easing. I was actually in the office today during the day. So there's small signs of coming out of lockdown are starting to emerge.
So how has Minor Hotels worked through the crisis? How have you managed?
Well, I think the first thing was, as it gradually spread from China, we've really quickly wanted to make sure that obviously the safety of the guests and all our team members was the number one priority. So we obviously have been, before we all went down to a lockdown. I mean, now we have 95% of our hotels closed. We saw the...
But I do want to get to that 5% at some point. But keep going.
Yes, please, yes. So, unfortunately, we had to move to start closing hotels. Then we moved to home working from all our offices globally. And then since then, we've been really, making sure that, the guests that we still had in our hotels were safe. So, all the hygiene and safety and making sure people that had to get home, as countries were closing down, were able to get home. All of those aspects were happening at different times in different countries.
Well, that's what I find really interesting because you're so spread out. And as I want the travel advisors to get to know where you are, how did it migrate and how did you manage that migration?
Well, we saw it start in China and then, it started to spread across Asia. But actually, the Europe was ahead of Asia in many of the Asian countries, as you know, with Italy and Spain. And with our two NH brands, we had to close hotels in Spain and Italy quicker than we did many in Asia. And then, the last area to really close was, the Maldives, Mauritius, Seychelles. So, it was, each country was different. Middle East as well came quicker than we thought, just depending on how quickly the number of cases went up. And the other thing that was challenging was all the different government activities, when they were closing down flights or closing, stopping different nationalities coming, etc. So and making sure the guests were able to leave, whenever they could, and then handling people who couldn't now come, was also another big part of it, with the cancellation, etc.
Let's come back to that, but just for an overview for the travel advisors, the reason that your reach is so broad, let's go over the brands quickly and then come back to the story.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we started from Thailand, so that's our home base, and our first brand was Anantara. So it's luxury, experienced, beautiful locations. And then after that, we developed a second brand called Avani, which is much more modern and contemporary. resorts and city centres. We've got a joint venture around the time we started Anantara, actually called Elawana, which is some of the most beautiful safari camps in Tanzania and Kenya. And then we have a brand called Oaks. Oaks is a lot of Oaks are hotel, suites and apartments, mainly in Australia and New Zealand, but we're gradually spreading that globally. And then 2 years ago, we bought the NH brand. So NH have 3 brands, mainly across Europe and South America. Actually got a new one opening in New York later this year. So there's the NH collection and the Now. So that's our. So the brands are all very different.
Did you mention Tivoli?
Tivoli, I forgot. Sorry. Absolutely. So Tivoli was started off in Portugal. It's a beautiful, classic hotel brand that again we're rolling out globally. So yeah, thank you for reminding me.
So now let's talk about that 5%.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, we still have our hotels in Australia and New Zealand are all still open. Those are predominantly Oaks. We have some Avanis in Australia. We have some of our long stay, suite properties are still open, especially in the Middle East, where they have long stay guests. So where those are the ones that we really kept open. We also kept Anantara Layan in Phuket, the residences, again because we had long stay guests. But pretty much all of the others have been closed. Yeah.
So now, what's changed in those? What's the new normal in these hotels?
Well, we're going through all of this hygiene. We've got new programs now that we've just launched, and we're busy. Anantara, we now have the Stay with a Peace of Mind program. So we're working, with all of the new hygiene measures, new safety levels, the most, the state of the art, if you like, cleaning materials, new, we're working with all our partners really. We work with Ecolab and Diversity to make sure that, the sanitation, everything, so the guests feel really safe.
Everybody's wearing masks?
Yeah. And we're testing at the moment, before we reopen, some new scenarios with, how you do, signing, when you have to do your guest check-in. But there's lots of new safety standards that are coming out, like Singapore and Thailand are coming out with different new standards, new, certifications. They're not fully in place yet, but we're working with the governments to get that in place.
Wow! So you have to actually, because of your diversity, you have to consider each government and the regulations therein.
Yes. Yeah. So I think it's really important that people feel safe and they can feel that they're really at the highest hygiene and safety standards, which will continuously evolve. How this whole virus situation pans out. The same with NH. NH is working with Societe Generale, which is a very big European company with a certification and new standards of hygiene and safety. It's interesting to say, I forgot to mention actually that Vietnam, for example, and China are sort of opening up now. And you will have seen and read. So, we're testing all of these things in these hotels. In Vietnam, you can still travel domestically. So, they had a holiday a couple of weeks ago. And also for the May Bank holiday, which is the May Day, where we were running very high occupancies. So, I think if the virus and the COVID-19 gets under control, people do want to start traveling domestically. And, when you've been stuck at home for so long, there's a lot of pent-up demand. And we're seeing that also happen in China, where even last weekend, our hotels were up to 80%. So that's quite encouraging. So that sort of gives me a lot of hope for hopefully when we can start to open up Thailand and Europe, etc. I mean, we all know, and I'm sure all the advisors as well, that we expect domestic travel to be the first thing that really starts to move until the countries can open up and the flights are in place and people feel safe to travel, by plane or whatever, long haul. Yeah.
It sounds really, it's really great that you will be able to take what you learn in each country and move it along to your other brands.
Yes. And, it's evolving all the time, and the technology is evolving as well, which everybody's focused on this. So it's very important.
But then the next thing we need is the lift to get them to each of those locations.
Yes, yeah. But you still want to feel comfortable. You don't, you still want to be, relaxed in a hotel, but you just want to, so it's a balance. You can't have, it's really evolving, but that's kind of what the new normal is going to be.
But how do you feel about the airlines and getting people to travel to your destinations?
Yes, I mean, that's the challenge and there's a worry, with the airlines like us have had to, shut down all their routes. And I mean, one of the first things we had to do was like they've had to, is obviously protect your cash situation and make sure that you survive this period where, you have no money coming in. So, there's two factors. One is when flights will start and when airlines will be allowed to fly into certain countries. And so we were talking earlier about the whiteboard that you have, to track, okay, flights are starting in this country to this country, or even domestically. We're just starting flights domestically in Thailand from the 15th of May. So, there's a start there. But then it's the size of the planes they're going to use. How's the social distancing going to work on the airlines? How many people can travel? What's the prices of the flights going to be, which are directly related to the whole package for us. So,
exactly, which is why I asked.
Yeah.
So now, what is Minor Hotels' relationship with the travel advisor community? How can they get involved? How can they learn more?
Well, what we've been doing is we've been, producing a lot of videos and content. We've got a lot of content, especially, Anantara and Avani and Tivoli. So we've been trying to share as much of that while people, to sort of keep people interested and aware. We've been doing webinars, trainings. We've got this great new platform which we rolled out last year called we call it Minor Hotel Zone, which has all our content, all our videos, everything. Because we have so many great locations and great experiences, and a lot of locations that, people have never been to, in Cambodia or Laos or the Middle East, Oman.
But I think the thing that we should stress here is that what makes all of your properties, the one common thread is the immersion. You want to talk about that for a moment?
Everybody's talking about experiences now, but, ours are really truly local, truly unique. And, you can do things when you stay at our hotels that you can only dream of. So we've been doing campaigns now, with Anantara escapism and, dreams. So there's unique things in almost every location that we have that I think are good.
Give us an example of like your favorite, like you can't do anywhere else.
Well, we have an elephant camp in it's called Anantara Golden Triangle, where you can You can see Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam from Thailand, and it's on the Mekong. And we have a camp of 42 elephants that you can learn about and experience. So I think that's one of my favorite things that we do. But, we have like Anantara Kasser Sarat, which is just outside Abu Dhabi, about 1 hour outside of Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. And there you're basically staying at a palace in the middle of the most beautiful desert, with those ripples and the orange desert that is the prettiest. There you can do everything: falconry, ride camels, everything. So these are some of the things that, and it's actually used.
This is what the travel advisor can see and virtually experience at that site.
Yeah. And we've got videos for each of the experiences, which are shorter videos, that you can use to promote.
Send the client.
And we've also been doing some co-brands with our partners, where some of our videos we just put the logo or the something of the partner on. Again, it gives that personalization for the travel advisor or whatever. So I think we're very flexible.
And do you have any programs or incentives that travel advisors should know about?
Yeah, I mean, we're just launching this Anantara Journeys, which is like a loyalty program. So this is just being launched this year. But I mean, we're always doing extra commission and things like that. But this one is really a loyalty program, with free nights and things like this included in it. Well, I think what we've been doing as well is, and I'm sure this is what they're receiving in terms of requests. We've introduced a lot more flexibility. So people can book. We call it book with confidence, because it could be that situation changes and you can't travel. So we've got very flexible cancellation, refund, etc. policies in place now. But it's interesting. We were just talking that we're starting to see some bookings coming through for the fourth quarter, long haul. Quite a bit for the Christmas New Year period, but still small in comparison. But I think hopefully that's a good sign. So combining the bit more flexibility, and there's see if we can start to drive some business. We're starting to sell in China as well, vouchers, which you buy a voucher, which there's two ways. One is you buy $1,000 voucher, but it's worth $1,300, $1,400. So you can you do your booking, and then you can use that when you're checking out against your stay. But you prepay it now, and then it's flexible for up to a year to use or more. So that's sort of giving people added value. But the other thing is selling, fixed packages, like a 2-night stay with a spa and a whatever included at a very special price. So we've been doing that. We're experimenting with different things, which the travel advisors can also take advantage of. I mean, we've also been sort of looking at how bookings are coming in, and probably the advisors are seeing the same thing. You see some more adventurous people who are prepared to commit, even for the summer, looking quite optimistically, even for the Maldives, which there's no domestic market to the Maldives, but we've got some people already trying to book for the summer. Now, there's no flights, nothing yet.
We're finding like the 20s and 30-somethings are itching to go, and they'll be first.
I think so. And then you see people who are definitely looking at sort of October, school holidays, midterm break, whatever. And then you've got people who want to book now for Christmas, New Year, who are confident, okay, this is all going to be over. I want to lock up my go to Mauritius or go to the Maldives or go to the Caribbean, or whatever. And also maybe people change the way they sort of want to travel, where you decide, well, maybe I take things, I relax a little bit more rather than going around, trying to do a a tour of Asia, where you do 5-6 countries in 2 weeks and go back but maybe you take it a little bit slower and you stay places and you experience the local culture, etc., the local experiences, have that connection, and then because maybe you don't want to do so many flights or so many,
Well, that's where
things.
that's why I think the travel advisor is becoming even more important, because they're going to be able to sort through all the new rules and regulations. They're going to be able to sort through all the new promotions. They're going to also be the fallback, because when it hits the fan and it gets tough, there's somebody that the client can go to for some help, and that may become more and more important.
I think so. And Alan, you might need, we need a health certificate for this country. You need
How do you keep track?
I've had this for that country. This one needs and by the way, it just changed. You're about to travel, and then 2 weeks before you travel or something, you made the booking 3 months ago or something, and now suddenly you need this certificate or that,
Yeah, it'd be nice to have someone call you and tell you, as opposed to you booked it yourself, and now what do you do?
And then your whole holiday, vacation, whole plan is. So I think those advisors are going to be critical when it comes to, everybody's agenda could change because of different government regulation or whatever restrictions.
So let's wrap this up by saying, what do you want? We're going out to over 100,000 travel advisors. What do you want them to know about Minor Hotels?
I think, we're really, truly, global. We're in some of the most unique locations with the, best experiences, best locations. We want to work with you to come out of this in the best possible ways, so that we can all, get back to doing great business. And we have a very, very, very high repeat factor. So I think once people have tried us, in one location, they often want to go and stay with us somewhere else. So thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you. And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.